You said when you started your show today that, oh my God, we've got so much to talk about. I know it's July, but we've got great topics. And I love that because I've been hearing content from different broadcasters during this downtime in sports, as it were. And they admit that, they reveal that. And when they reveal that to me, that it's sort of a dead time, so we're talking about this or that topic, I don't really want to listen at that point. I need to feel like there's some curiosity, some engagement, some excitement. And I want that sort of vicarious spark right there. And for whatever reason, not everybody brings that. I think it might be rooted in insecurity in some people, where they're afraid that this isn't the time, the material, people are going to disengage. But what I appreciate is it's July, Colin is locked in, and we're talking sports, and I can turn here to be excited about something.
Yeah, we had a really good morning prep session, and we started at 6:12 and we finished at 7:40 something. And I turned around and we didn't pause. And I thought, God, this is a really good prep day. Like, we had a lot of things to talk about. It felt like a Tuesday in the NFL where I had two really good, strong things to say up front. I had a couple good guests in Adam Wainwright and Nick Wright. And I looked at the guys and I said, God, this is a good show. And when we were done, I walked out for lunch with one of my bosses and I said, we really had a good show today. We had like an October show. So credit to my staff. When I walk in every morning, there's 8-9 people. And today was just a spitball idea and people had a lot of strong feelings on stuff. And I remember talking to Phillip Rivers once, and he said he liked the process of kind of deconstructing a defense and building a game plan more than the game. And I don't know if I like that more than my show, but on the very best days of work, creating the show is at least as much fun as the show. And today was one of those days. I thought the staff did a really good job. We threw stuff out to each other, and it was just reciprocating back and forth. I threw out an idea, they threw it back. And I think it's really fun. I've never, when I listen to sports talk radio, there's a lot of talented people out there, but I do hear a lot of ad-libbing. And I think to myself, God, if you would have sat down and for 15, 20 minutes with your producer and really thought this puppy out and wrote that, you could have taken that and made it into something greater. And I think when I watch certain shows like PTI, I think does a good job of making me think. I can tell they put in the time and the thought exercise to take 90 seconds, make it 3 minutes, and it's really thoughtful. And they only have 22, 23 minutes of airtime. I always appreciate that. So I just thank you for that. And I thought the staff had a really good day today.
Yeah, it's funny you say that about the process, because Jon Stewart was on Matt Bellamy's podcast and he was talking about how they put that show together, The Daily Show, and how he was saying, I'm a process nerd. And these things that you find funny as the audience or engaging, it almost seems, because it's presented as though Jon Stewart is up there and he's just riffing, but it comes out of this boring, maybe not boring, but it comes out of this process. And there is this grind that then produces something funny or inspirational. I know you were just talking there's a podcast you're talking to Edelman about how they would just practice something drearily over and over and over again, thinking it would never becomes something, and then boom, week 16 it decides the game. And so I think there's a lesson about life in that there is a process, and it is easy to see what is presented to you, especially in a TV show, which is what sports is, by the way. We can find a little bit of a parallel there. But behind the very inspiring, the improvised, there's all sorts of work that goes into it. Not only is there work, but there's this process, this skeleton, this rhythm that people are organized by that produces the product.
Yeah, I just was on the phone today, a Zoom call with Doug Miro, who was a writer for Narcos and Narcos Mexico. He's a brilliant, brilliant guy, also a big NFL fan. And I pitched the show with my friend Eric Tannenbaum to AMC, and they were really interested in it. So we interviewed a bunch of writers, and Doug Miro is from Birmingham, Michigan, happens to be a huge NFL fan. And so I pitched him an idea I had for a show and gave him 3 or 4 weeks to kind of chop it up and work on it. And he pitched it back to us today. He's so brilliant. He's such a brilliant guy and so funny and thoughtful. And I wrote all these notes for about the 45-minute meeting of him pitching back the idea for the show. And that, to me, that pitch back and forth is my favorite part of the business. There is something I like how Jon Stewart says he's a process nerd. My wife, interestingly, is a project person. Loves a big project that takes 4 months. I like daily process. And so, it's the kind of a seesaw. I'm always trying to create these projects for her, or she creates them. And she knows how much I like process. I need something every day. I need to go on a walk, listen to a podcast, come up with a thought, write it down. And so I had one of those experiences today. And it's just, I'm like, oh my God, I hope this partnership works, because he is so good he's a combination of process and project. I mean, if you create Narcos, he was one of the writers on that, which is my favorite show. That's my Sopranos. Narcos is my favorite show ever. That and Mindhunter. So it's just like, I think I was, if I wouldn't have done this, maybe I'd been an accountant or something. I like the idea of architecture and building things.